Okay, so this is the next video in our continuation of our FastAPI series. So let's start. So let me activate my virtual environment. So virtual environment has been activated. 1 minute, something is wrong. Okay, so virtual environment has been activated. So let me start the app just to see how our app looks like till now. So it has been started using the Jwt server. So let's wait for a few seconds. So application has been started. Let me go to the localhost. So our app looks like something like that. Now we have two options. One is the register, so we can register, create account, or we can log in it, but we don't have any functionality here. Like if I put something here, so let me give some valid email, and if I click on the login, so nothing is happening here, right? Okay, so we have, along with that, like you could see whatever the I passed here, like it is showing into the URL. So this looks wrong, so we have to correct that, because I passed let's suppose some email and click enter. So these are going as a query parameter, so this is wrong, so we have to correct that as well. Ideally the password and the email should not be visible into the URL, right? Okay, and we have to apply the functionality, like we have to accept the username, we have to accept the password, and let me show you one diagram. So once the user enter the email, we have to verify that email, whether the email is valid or not. Then we have to check whether the password is valid. If both the things are valid, then we will send one message that login has been successful. If let's suppose the email doesn't exist, then we will send the error message like the email doesn't exist, right? And also once the user will get successfully logged in, so we have to create a Jwt token, right? And Google Drive, leave it. So we have to create a Jwt token, right? And why we have to create a Jwt token? Because when the user, in the next video, when we actually create these things, to create a post, to modify the post, or to delete the post, so how the website know which user is this? We have logged in, but we have not saved any credentials, so we have to create a Jwt token, and we have to save that Jwt token in our browser. And whenever user will click on the create post item, then we will pass that Jwt token from in the URL headers, and from the logic code, from our code, we will decode the token, and we will get the email, right? Okay, so we have to implement this. First let's implement the login functionality. Okay, so first let me go to the templates. Why I'm going to the template? Because I show you in the URL, whatever the things I am passing here, so whatever the things I am passing here, it is visible here, so this is wrong. So we have to go to the templates and open the login.html template, and here in the form tag we have to give method is equal to post. Otherwise by default it is treating as a get method, so that's why right. So we are saying for form method is equal to post. All right, now if I a@a.com and if I click on the login, now I did not it says the method not allowed, and I am not able to see the details in the URL header. Okay, that is sorted. Okay, so what is the next thing? So go to the web apps, ls, go to the routers, ls, open the host.py. So right now we have the get method, but when we click on the login button, so the post request will be triggered, right, which will send this data to the server, and the server will verify the email address and the password. So we have to create one more route, and that could be the post route, and which is on the same path, that is the login path. Alright, so which function should be called? Let's suppose the function is the login, and it will accept this form parameter, or it will accept some request. Alright, so we need the request as well. Okay, now we have to apply some logic here. Alright, so first we have to accept this form. Alright, and how to accept this form? Request dot form, and the same thing like which we implemented into the users route when we did the user registration. So when we click on the register, so we have to accept this form. The same thing we are doing into the login route, right? We have to accept that form, but we have to use the async method, otherwise it will give some error message or warning message. So we have to use the async method. Alright, okay, so now let me print. So form dot get email, print form dot get password, just to see whether this part is working or not. s@s.com, enter. So it's something wrong. Okay, so something is wrong. Async def login, so some syntax is wrong, so I forgot to put the codes here. Now if I log in, now I am able to see the user ID and the password. Alright, so this part is perfectly okay. We are accepting the form. So let's store that in some variable. Email is equal to this email, and password is equal to this password. Now we have to first verify whether user has entered the email or not. If not email, let's suppose if the user did not enter the email, then we have to send one error message that please enter the valid email, right? So we have to we have to store some errors. So let's create a one list errors, and we will store that error. So errors dot append please enter valid email. Okay, correct. Let's suppose if user enter the email, so that is fine, but if user doesn't enter the password, if not password or not, and let's suppose we are creating some condition like length of the password should be greater than 5, or so if length of the password is less than 5, then it will also store the error password should be greater than 5 characters. Okay, so that is done. I forgot to add the codes, so that is done, right? Now let's suppose user has entered the email as well, and user has entered the password, and both the validation has been successfully passed, so it will not enter the if loop. So what next? Now we have to check whether this email address exists into the database or not, right? So we have to check that. So we will do into the try block. So let's suppose we will check the user. So we have to use the db dot query onto the user table, and we have to filter by user dot email equal to email. So whatever the email exists into the database, whether this email which the user is passing, whether any user exists or in the database or not. So we are checking that as well. So we need the db because we are here using db, and we need the user as well. So let's use that db session, and it depends upon get db. And so we have to import something. We have to import the depends, right? And we have to import the session from SQL alchemy.orm import session, Along with that, we need the DB, which is in our we need the get DB, so which is in our database file. From database import get DB. Okay, so and we need the user as well, because we need the user as well, so which is our in our models file. So from models import user. Okay, that is perfectly okay. So it will fetch the user. So let's suppose if user is none, it means like user doesn't exist, so it will throw the errors. So errors dot append email does not exist. All right, and we will return the template. We will return the same template. So let's put the user enter the email, user enter the password, and everything is okay. Okay means like user enter like some email rather than like giving the blanks. That is user enter some email and user enter the password, and the password length is also like less than 5, also sorry greater than 5. So form validation has been occur. Now we are checking the user, but user doesn't exist. That is he is not created the account directly, he trying to log in. So we have to return the same template with some error message that email doesn't exist. So we have to return the template response, and which template we have to return? This login.html. Along with that, we have to return the context dictionary request and errors as well. Errors. Okay, so that is fine. So this is okay. Now let's suppose if email exists into the database, so now we need to check whether the user has entered the correct password or not. So else, so it will go to the else part. Let's suppose if the user exists, so now we have to check the password. So in our database we are storing the hashed password. So first we need to convert this password into the hash password, and then we need to verify, right? So we know we have already implemented like a verify password method into the hashing file, verify password. So let me show you. If you go to the nano hashing.py file, so we already implemented the verify password, which will took the plain password and the hash password. So which will took the plain password, which is password, and the hash password. Hash password means user.password, that is from the database, because now user exists, so email exists, so we will get the password which exists in the database, and we will compare it with the password which user has entered. So if both get compared, then it will return the true. But what is hasher? We have to import that as well. So from hashing import hasher. So hashing is our file and hasher is our class, so we are importing that. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, so that is fine. Let's suppose like it has been verified, but just in case if it like the password is wrong, then we will again like store the error invalid password, and if the password is invalid, then again we will return the same template with the message like the invalid password. So we have to return the same template, return templates. So here as well we have to put the templates dot template response, and which template we have to return? Login.html, and we have to request, and we have to errors. Okay, that is perfectly okay. So else part has been like fine, but let's suppose if like user has entered the correct email and user has entered the correct password, then what next? Then next thing is we have to create the Jwt token. So user has entered the correct user ID and user has entered the correct password. So we have to create the Jwt token, and we know like we are like we have to create the Jwt token. right? So we have to create the Jwt token. So we are using the, how we create the Jwt token, we are using the Python JOS package. So from JOS import Jwt, right? So and we are using the encode method. So Jwt dot encode, and it will like took the data. And what is data? So data, we know we have to pass the data in some specific format, that is key as a sub, because if you go to the jwt.io, so in the data key should be sub, right? So we are creating a data, and the data is equal to so we have to pass the data. Then we have to pass the secret key and the algorithm, like which, by using which algorithm like we are trying to encode the Jwt token. So we already stored the secret key in our configuration file. So nano config. So in our already configuration file, like secret key and the algorithm. So we will import the setting object from the config file. So let's import that from config, import setting. Okay, and then we will use this setting dot secret key and algorithm is equal to setting dot algorithm. Okay, so it will create the Jwt token. So what next? Once the Jwt token has been created, we have to store it, so that we can use it later. So earlier what is happening is when we are doing the docs, so when we click on the authorize, and when we are using the auth means it is a third party you can say form. So we are using that, and it will create a token, right? And automatically if you look at this code, so let me show you the code as well. So FastAPI GitHub, click on the FastAPI and click on the security, click on the OAuth 2. So something here, yeah. So automatically there is a one method underscore call method, and whenever the function will be called, automatically it is storing the password, storing the token and into the header, and automatically getting the token from the headers. Everything this OAuth password request form is doing, right? But right now we are not using this form, we are creating our own form, right? So we are creating our own form, so we have to store the password. And where we will store the password? We will store the password into the cookie. And if you go to the FastAPI official documentation, if you click on the FastAPI documentation and search here response cookie. So how to create a cookie? We have to create a cookie in this way, response.set cookie, and then we have to set the key and we have to set the value. So let me show you how the cookie looks like. So if you go to the settings and search here cookie, so cookie and the other side data, and I want to see all the cookies, alright. And so let me show the local host. So database storage, so here the cookie is not stored, so let me use the Stack Overflow. So BS cookie, so they are storing the cookie in this form, right? So they are storing the cookie, you can say name, key and the value. So that's why they are using the key and the value. right? Along with that, like you can see you can accessible to script, no. So they are storing the cookie as HTTP only. So by default, like accessible to script means like generally when we store the cookie into the browser, by writing some JavaScript code we can easily access this cookie. But if we explicitly mention that it is HTTP only cookie, then we can't like access this cookie using the JavaScript code. So it's up to us. If you want to store the cookie without HTTP, then like it will be might be dangerous, because like anyone like a hacker write the some JavaScript code and like easily get the cookie. But if we use the HTTP only, then like they can't like run the JavaScript to access our cookie. So we will also use the HTTP only. So how to set the cookie? We have to set the cookie using the response.setCookie, and we have to pass this response parameter into the like function definition. So let's do that. So we have to set the cookie using response.setCookie and key. So key could be like XX token, and 1 minute, no, we have to use the key. So key is equal to access token. Alright, so key is equal to access token and value. So in our like I show you like 1 minute, I will let me open the notepad. So how generally like we are storing the cookie? So I told you like we have to store the cookie in this way. So authorization, bearer, and the token name. So why we use the authorization? Because by default like they are using the authorization as the keyword. Like just I show you the code na, FastAPI GitHub code. Let me again show you. FastAPI security auth 2. So by default like they are expecting the authorization as a key. Alright, so that's why like when we implement our test case, so we like store the token in this way, like authorization and then bearer as a keyword and the token name. But we are not using that form, so we will not so it's up to us, like whatever the key we want. So like I like any name, I put a name, I put ABC, but let me give some valid name, access token, and then we have to use the keyword as a bearer, and then we have to store the token name, right? So value is equal to f string bearer, and then we have to store the Jwt token, right? Now by default HTTP only is false, but we want to store the HTTP key. I show you now like what is HTTP key only. Let me again show you. If you go to the settings, if you go to the cookies and the other site data, if you go to the set all cookies and the site data, and let me open any cookie. So this is the cookie name, not the cookie, this is the name, analytic, and this is the cookie, and see like this is accessible to script. So this is not this is not the HTTP only. So by using the JavaScript code we can easily access this cookie. So this is like very dangerous. So user match history, so this is also accessible to script, so this is also very dangerous. So but we have to store our cookie like in a form of a BS cookie. So this is HTTP only, so that's why like it is not accessible to the script. So HTTP only means it will not be accessible to the script, only like it will pass as a header only in the HTTP, right? So we are also using the HTTP only key. So we set HTTP only is equal to true. Then what next? So cookie has been stored right? So login has already done, cookie has been stored. Now we will send a message, login has been successful. Return templates dot template response login.html request is equal to request, and we will send some message as well. So let me store some message. So let's suppose the message is equal to login successful, and we will pass the message here. Okay. So this is completed, but what is accept block? So let's suppose if something is wrong, all right, so either the in the Jwt token something is wrong, or something with the database is wrong. So we are handling the so what we will do, we will errors dot append, we will display something wrong, right, and we will again return the template, return templates dot template response login.html, and we have to pass this context dictionary as well, request, and we have to pass the errors. Okay, so hopefully this will work, but anything we want, so looks everything okay, but we have to display this error into our login page and this message as well. So let me save it and go to the templates, cd templates ls nano login.html. So where we will display the error, so we will display the error here, for error in errors and for, alright, so here we will display the error. So let me log into the bootstrap and go to the docs, search alert. If there is any error, then we will use this danger, that is the red color. So paste, alright, so we don't need this message, we want our error message which we are stored. So our error message will be error, and also if there is not an error, we have the message as well. So if message and if, alright, so we will display the message, but we will display some in a green alert. So we will display the message as well. Okay, so let me save it, and our application is running. So we will see if there is any issue or not. Let me close this, yeah, one thing we forget, let me go to the cd.webapps, cd routers ls nano o.viewer. So one thing we forget, I am here using the response, right, but what is response, we are not using it. So we have to use the response, and it is of response type, and we have to use the response above as well, response. Now hope everything looks okay. Okay, so let me go to the home page, let me create an account. So let's create an account, some dummy account, dummy@dummy.com, password let me give password dummy and register. Okay, this email already exists, strange. test@dummy.com test dummy. So okay, we are successfully registered. Now try to log in. So let me give some invalid some email which doesn't exist. So it says that email doesn't exist. Let's suppose test@dummy.com, but I give the wrong password. Then it throw me as error, invalid password. Right, now let me give the test@dummy.com and the test dummy. Something is wrong. Why this is happen? It's ideally it should logged in. Let me check. Settings, cookie. Just want to see whether it has already set the cookie or not. Localhost. So no, it doesn't set our cookie because our cookie has the name access token. So let me do the debugging. So this is working fine. Please enter the valid email. Please enter the file. The email doesn't exist. This is also fine. So hasher dot verify password, user dot password. Let me print the data. So whether we are printing the data or not. Okay. And let me again test@dummy.com test dummy login. And okay, so here it is coming. So till this point no issue, it is coming to this point. Okay, it is HTTP only. I think this is the issue. test@dummy.com test dummy login. So login has been successful, and if I see the cookie, search local. Why the cookie doesn't set? What happened? Where my cookie goes? It means something is wrong, like it is unable to set the cookie. So we have to again like to do the debug. So whether it is creating the Jwt token, let me check. Print Jwt token. Okay, so we will see whether it is printing the Jwt token or not. So let me again log in. test@dummy.com test dummy. So I logged in. Yeah, it created the Jwt token. That is perfectly okay. Copy, paste. Yeah, that is perfectly okay. It is creating the Jwt token of the test dummy only, and we are using HS256 method only. That is perfectly okay. So some issue means in the next line only while storing the cookie, but what is the issue? We have to check that. So that is also okay. response dot set cookie key is equal to this, value is equal to this, http only is equal to this, and we are using the response here as well. We are using the response here as well. Do I need to mention this before? Response is equal to response. Let me check the official documentation. FastAPI. Response cookies. For FastAPI, we have to import the response. For response is equal to response dot set cookie, key, value, everything is okay. What is wrong then? Response dot set cookie, access token, value is equal to bearer, Jwt token, http only, true, perfectly okay. Let me comment this just to check if there is an issue. Response dot set cookie. Let me again log in. test@dummy.com, test dummy. Okay, now let me check the cookie. Localhost. Yeah, now the cookie has been set, access token. So with the name access token, and we have the value. So value is also correct. jwt.io. So that is also set, test@dummy.com. But why it is not able to set when we are redirecting? What is wrong then? Return templates dot template response login dot html, request is equal to request, message is equal to message. Then why it not able to set? Let me check, give me a few minutes. Okay, so there was a little bug. Let me show you. So what we are actually doing is like so we are like storing the cookie first, and then we are like redirecting to the web page, but we have to do opposite. We have to first use this command, and we will like store this response in some variable, like let's say response, and then we will like set the cookie, because otherwise if we set the cookie first and it will return the page again, then it is unable to set the cookie. Then after that we have to return the response. So basically, like earlier, what we are doing is we are first setting the cookie and then returning the template response. But ideally what we have to do is first we have to run this command, that is the template response, that is the on what page we are setting the cookie. So login.html response, then using this like variable response, we are setting the cookie, and then we will return the whole response. So whole response means the page plus cookie, right? Then we have to return the whole response. So let's try. So let me save it. So let's try that. So if I go to the home and if I go to the login, so right now I don't have any cookie, and let me try test@dummy.com, test dummy, and if I login, so I could see login successful, and if I refresh it, so I could see localhost 1 cookie, and if there is a key access token and the bearer and the cookie value,
token value, and if I copy it and if I paste the token here, and if I check the value, so I am getting the same key, test@dummy.com, right? So our login functionality is now completed. So next is the create post functionality. Alright, so in the next video we will see like how to create the post, because now we have the token saved into the cookie. So before creating the post, we have to pass the token to authorize whether the user who is creating the post is authorized or not. So we have to pass the token. So right now we are storing the cookie. In the next video we are reading the cookie, and then we are like decoding the token. So that's the end of the video. Thank you.